Good afternoon, good morning. How's everybody doing today? Oh, as Judson said yesterday, we can't hear you, right? Because we're all tired from all that, good socializing last evening, talking to other partners, learning a lot about the cloud, seeing what's happening. So hopefully tonight's equally as enjoyable. So before I start, I'd like to take an opportunity to thank you for taking time out of your schedules to come and join us. I know it's a sacrifice when you take time out of your schedule, you're not selling, you're not creating more MRR, but I think that in return, you get the opportunity to work with your colleagues, understand a little bit more about cloud, and take some experiences home. So thank you again for your business. Thank you for coming to work with us this week, and hopefully we see you again next year. I'd also like to take an opportunity to thank a lot of people that helped to put this event together. I think it's a great event. Thank you to Renee Bergeron, who spent endless hours putting this thing together, with Dan Shapiro and the marketing team, and the entire team from Ingram Micro. So thank you to everybody. I won't be able to individually thank you, but thanks a lot. It's been great. Yeah? And finally, thank you to all the partners that without their contributions, we wouldn't be able to make this event happen. So I think you saw this week we had quite powerful speakers. We had Robert LeBlanc from IBM, who made a commitment to put his software on our marketplace. You saw Judson Althoff from Microsoft talk about their alignment with Ingram Micro and how we are working together to lift businesses in the cloud. In the next couple of minutes, I want to show you a couple of things. I also want to dispel a couple of myths, right? The myth about the unicorn. Okay, the unicorn is not necessarily a mythical animal, yeah. You guys saw one outside yesterday. It does exist, yeah. But I want to dispel a few notions. So, okay.
This changes everything. Reselling technology used to mean selling physical products, but now customers want more and more of the cloud. You have to help your customers adapt and migrate, change the way you market, sell, and train. Change the way you support. Change the way you manage relationships. Change to tap into the cloud's business potential. With all these changes, you need someone to help you weather the storm. That's Ingram Micro, and we're right here at your side. Because of the relationships we've built as the world's largest technology wholesaler, we've already done the work of developing a world-class cloud portfolio, so you don't have to. Our dedicated cloud team has been doing it since 2006. We know everyone wants different cloud services, so we have over 200 that you can simply offer to your customers. And to make it even easier, our marketplace gives you a self-service portal to create and provision cloud services for your users without going to different sites or even picking up the phone. And since technology doesn't solve problems by itself, our Cloud Ignite services provide help desk, migration, and onboarding support. This isn't just simple and powerful, it's rewarding. Through Cloud Elevate, we provide incentives as your business grows. The cloud means a new day for resellers, and Ingram Micro is here to help you welcome that day. Offer the cloud as one product, one contract, through one trusted partner. To learn more about how resellers can gain success in the cloud, go to ingrammicrocloud.com.
So hopefully we've dispelled the myth. I think we put that video out a couple of months ago in preparation for this meeting. And over the last year, our technology team has been working very aggressively in building that marketplace. I think many of you got to experience that marketplace yesterday. You got to see it, you got to touch it, you got to feel it. And I would challenge anybody else out in the industry to produce that sort of technology for you, for our VARs, so you can serve your customers and you can lift businesses into the cloud. And that's what Ingram Micro is about. It's about partners, it's about channels, it's about helping you to monetize the value you will create for your customers on a long-term basis. So thank you again. The unicorn is not a myth, it's a real animal in Ingram Micro. So a couple of questions. I'm going to have some people come up and help me with a couple of socks. Anybody got cloud socks? Who's got cloud socks? Yeah. If you notice, guys, there's smiley cloud socks, happy clouds, yeah? So first thing, question. Anybody can answer it. Everybody that answers the question gets a cloud sock. There's only 500 cloud socks, and we will not be making them again, okay? Because they're very valuable cloud socks. Anyone write a postcard this morning? Wow, nobody. Anybody write a check? Anybody go to the post office? Anyone even know where the post office is? Last question, anybody use a map to get here? A map, piece of paper, solid thing? Wow, isn't that strange? 5 years ago, I could have asked that question, and 50% of the people in the room would have answered yes to at least 2 or 3 of those questions. Today, I have an audience of around 700 people, and I can't get one person that's done that. That's what's called change, right? And change is about the future ahead. We know we live in a world, and Microsoft will say mobile first, cloud first. We live in a world of social media. We live in a world of mobile. We live in a world of analytics, and we live in this amazing time called cloud. And cloud is something that is going to transform the way all of us work, and it already is. Anybody in the room got kids? Who's got kids? How many people watch what their kids do with their mobile device? How many people spy on their kids? Good thing, no? Anybody have that software that you could spy on your spouse too? Mine does it with the toe ring that's on my toe, yeah? We're in a world where everything is connected. So let's take a little journey on the connected world. So, first question. Anybody want to take a stab at what the population of the planet Earth was? The planet Earth, not Mars, not Venus, or any other planet. We don't know if there's life there yet. I'm sure there is, yeah? What was the population of the planet in 1960? $5 billion? Give that person a pair of socks. It's not the right answer, but he gets a pair of socks. He's bold. Yeah? $3 billion. Give that person a pair of socks. $3 billion. In 1960, the population of the planet was $3 billion. How many of you have a phone where you can look that up on Google, or you could ask Siri, or you could ask Cortana? Right? So these questions can't be that hard. We're in a connected world, right? It's in the cloud. What's the population of the planet today? Plus or minus 100 million, I'll give you a margin of error. 7 billion? Go give some people some socks. So anybody that answers the question gets socks. 7.8. It's 7.1 billion. What do you think the population of the planet will be by 2020? 2020. Listen, there's a lot of babies being born if it's 10 billion, eh? 7.8 billion. That's really interesting, because the interesting thing about cloud's not about the number of just businesses, it's about the number of people. What do you think the population of the United States of America was in 1960? I give you half a sock. Put your hand up, I give you half a sock. If you give me the second part of the answer, I give you the other half. 180 million, right? What's the population of the US today? 316 million. Almost doubled. And continues to grow. Where does it continue to grow? Where you live. In big cities like Atlanta, in big cities like Los Angeles, in big cities like Miami. Yeah? And those cities are getting bigger and bigger. And there's more and more people to serve in those cities. Let me give you another example. What was the population of China in 1960? $660 million. What's the population of China today? 1.35 billion. That's the latest census statistic. It's a lot of people. Can you imagine how many seats of cloud are going to get sold in China? What's the population of India in 1960? 449 million. What's the population of India today? Unknown, actually, is what I'll tell you. It's about 1.25 billion. It's gone up 3x. Cloud is about seats. The more seats you sell, the more monthly recurring revenue you sell. The greater the population becomes, the more seats you will sell. Let me give you one last statistic to give you a sense of the magnitude of the journey that you're on and why it's important that you take that journey before anybody else. There were 20 years ago, less than 500 million cell phone subscribers. Today, worldwide, there are 6.7 billion cell phone users, okay? Because many people have more than one subscription. As of Mobile World Congress last week, where we were attending, there are 4.5 billion users. That means almost every person on the planet already has a cell phone. Everything is connected. Data flows everywhere in the world. Take a look at that little chart that's on the projector there. That's what's happening every minute of every day. So I'll ask you a question. How many people got selfie sticks from the team at Symantec last night? Right, with the Bluetooth. How many people have used those selfie sticks subsequently? How much content did you create with a selfie stick? I photobombed my daughter this morning. You know what photobomb is? I sent her 100 pictures from the selfie stick. I created 800 meg of traffic. Think about how much traffic we're generating, how many pictures we're generating. That's why cloud is so interesting. But you need to be there first, because second doesn't count. So one other small thing that's really interesting about what's happening with cloud, take a look at the names of the companies that are on that slide. Anybody recognize them? How many people recognize those names? How much value do you think those companies that mostly didn't exist 10 years ago have generated and created? Trillions. In a matter of 10 years, companies of the past are no longer companies of the future. An interesting discussion we were in the other day is when people are trying to protect themselves from inflation, they're trying to protect themselves from changes, people no longer buy gold. They buy stocks in companies like Apple and companies like Google and companies like Amazon, because these things are more stable than gold. Are they creating value? Are they the front runners in the cloud? The answer is yes. They're doing things. So as you go on this journey, the most important thing about this journey is that speed does matter. The reason that Ingram Micro is so aggressive in cloud, why we've invested so heavily as an organization, is that we want you to succeed. You are the most important part of the entire cloud ecosystem. It's about you. You're the ones that are going to lead the transformation. You're the ones that have the touch with the customers. You're the trusted advisor. To give you an idea of how important you are in this ecosystem, and you are the most important thing, and we're all about customers. There were 1 million new companies started in the United States last year. I'm going to give you US statistics. When we go to Europe in a couple of weeks, I'm going to give European statistics. There's not as many as 1 million, yeah. There are 22 million companies in the US with under 5 employees. And most of those companies are ready for cloud. That's 100 million seats. That's more than enough seats for everybody in this room to have a very, very happy, happy, happy life. And it's there for us to collectively service. And what they're looking for to use, they're looking for you to help them lift their businesses into the cloud. But you know what? If the guy next door does it before you, do you think they're going to come back and they're going to give you their seats afterwards? Anybody think they're going to give you their seats if they're on somebody else's platform, if they're on somebody else's system or somebody else's technology? Highly unlikely. And the other thing is all those customers don't want excuses, they want execution. They're thinking differently, they're behaving differently, they're driving their business differently, they're creating value differently. But they need you to succeed. I think that's also one of the reasons that you heard from Judson yesterday was, why you're so important. I think companies change views. The view originally of the cloud business was it was going to go direct, and honestly, we stood up here several times and people said the channel's going to get disintermediated. You heard my CEO yesterday say that's not going to happen. You heard Paul Bay say it's still not happening, although we've been hearing it for 20 years. And it's not going to happen for the next 20 years. You're going to still continue to be the most important component of the ecosystem. As we evolve and companies evolve and they change, we collectively need to think differently, right? A new way to think. Thinking of the past, slow, monotonous, complicating, time-consuming, it's going away. We'll try to think in ways that are easier, not more complex. We will discard bad ideas quickly. We won't take a bad idea and go with a bad idea for a year. We'll try it, we'll think about it, it doesn't work, away it goes, right? And we also think about change. So I think you heard from the gentleman from IDC, he talked a lot about change and transformation. I think you also heard this from Captain Sully when he was talking about the transformation of the airline industry, driving change, making decisions. We're going to need to think much faster. And the next thing is that, think about how you behave. I'll ask you another question. If you were to leave your house in the morning, and you left your lunch, I asked my employees this last week, left your lunch bag at home, would you go home and get your lunch bag? Anybody? If you left your cell phone at home, would you go home and get your cell phone? The answer is yes, okay? I'll ask you another interesting thing. This is the way people think and they behave. If you had a choice of not going to dinner at a restaurant, spending $99, or keeping your internet connection, which one would you do? It's amazing, no? You'd actually give up the dinner with your girlfriend to keep your internet connection. I asked a young gentleman the other day, would you give up your cell phone or would you give out the bar drinks? And he said, I give up the bar drinks. I said, why? He goes, because at least with a cell phone I can get another date. Everything changes. A new way to think, a new way to learn. We learn differently. We learn much faster than in the past. And it's amazing. Have you guys used things like the Khan Academy and the internet to teach your kids? You can go to YouTube, and like this morning I was playing. So I was supposed to be wearing a bow tie. Yeah? The fashion guy said wear a bow tie. It matches your blue socks. And we couldn't tie the bow tie. Although we watched a lot of YouTube videos, and we finally gave up. Yeah? So I went with plan B, and I went with the tie. Interestingly enough, you can now learn from anywhere in the world. And let me give you just one small example. I was in India a couple of months ago. And my family comes from a relatively small village in rural India near a town called Ahmedabad. And it's a town of about 3,000 people. And in that town, there's a small school. And it's an old school. It's nothing very, very fancy. And I got the opportunity to go into that school. And I saw things that amazed me. Because what I saw in that school was a screen, an internet connection, and a solar panel. And I was watching 5-year-olds and 6-year-old kids learning from the Khan Academy and the internet. That means around the world, we will create more and more intelligent people and more opportunities because of the technology that is enabling change. We live in a time of unprecedented change. We will take people that have never had access to be able to create, and all these people are going to consume technology around the world. Just imagine, if you can learn from anywhere in the world without moving. You can now work from anywhere in the world without moving. You can play from anywhere in the world. How many people play on the internet? Anybody play? Anybody do this thing called Candy Crush? I get tired of getting Candy Crush invitations, right? 93 million people play together on Candy Crush. So we don't play separate. We used to play team games with 11 people. We used to play hockey with 6 people. Now we play games with 90 million people, and we compete against 90 million people. We play World of Warcraft or Halo and all these crazy games. We don't only do that, we move differently, right? We got this technology called GoPro. We have these technologies called flows. We have these technologies called bands. And interestingly enough, we compete. And we're willing to share that sensitive data with everybody. And we do. Because I think we've learned something else. We're learning a new way to share. We are open to sharing the experiences and knowledge we have. We share them through social media. And think about this one more time. 10 years ago, even think about 5 years ago. Yeah? We are now willing to express our emotions and our feelings freely. If you didn't like an airline that you flew in on, what would you do immediately when you were on the airline? Tweet it. If you didn't like a restaurant, what would you do after you ate the food? Yelp it. We have turned into a world of immediate feedback through social media, which means customer service is going to become more and more important. One of the things that we talked about yesterday is we talked about the importance of the customer lifecycle management. We talked about the importance of service. We are moving into a service world where if you do things badly, everybody will know faster than if you do everything correct. Because we are now open to sharing. And finally, we all have a new way to work. Because as I mentioned, we're fully connected all the time. We can work from anywhere, and choice is becoming important in who we work for. So one of the things that Ingram Micro is doing is it's evolving its campuses. We're evolving the way we work inside campuses to collaboration. We're evolving the way we work in campuses to modernization. And we're getting rid of these cubes. Because interestingly enough, the workforce of the future doesn't behave like the workforce of the past. They're going to be new and they're going to be different. They want bean bags and they want things that hang from the ceiling. Yeah? Hopefully we can give them. And what does that all mean? All those new ways of doing things. We all expect more. Now that's a nice car, okay? I would expect more if I was driving that car as well. But what does that mean? It means the expectation from your customer is increasing. The services you perform and the quality of those services and the quality of your staff is going up. What's driving all this? What's driving all this is the proliferation of technology and how competitive the economies are becoming. Think about something like this. Today, a town in Middle Europe, that most people have never heard of, yeah, can produce 600 software developers at a very, very high level per year. They can now connect those 600 software developers to develop code all over the world, and they can do it for 1/5 the cost of anybody else. And they're going to produce more and more quality. That means we're going to expect things faster, and we all expect more. We also live in a world where productivity matters. We live in a world of unprecedented sharing and collaboration. And I'll give you another example. When you go to the doctor today, and the doctor doesn't know what you have, you know what he does? Types it into a computer, into a medical database. Inside that medical database, he can write in any diagnostic, and you can get cured. They can give you a solution, because they use big data to see, what's wrong with you. We all expect more. And simply good is no longer good enough. It's not okay just to be okay anymore. You have to be great at what you do. Because as we said before, if you don't like it, you'll Yelp it. If the service quality is not great, you won't use it. And that's why one of the parts of our journey is that as we put solutions into our marketplace for you to sell to your customer, to be your partner, we test those solutions. We look at those solutions. We make sure those solutions are going to serve your customer with the highest degree of quality. And we make sure those solutions aren't mediocre. They're not just okay. They need to be better than okay. And that's part of our commitment and our pledge to you, as Renee said the other day. We're committed to making sure you have the best thing. And cloud will be all about the customer experience. If you do these things well, we'll have a very successful journey together. And the reason we'll have that successful journey together is because we also live in another world now. It's the world of unconstrained demand. Anyone know what unconstrained demand means? I'll give you an example. Apple sold 500 million iPhones since it was launched. With the iPhone 6, they're up to 600 million. People line up to buy more and more of these phones. They launched the iWatch yesterday, and people will line up to buy because it's an unconstrained demand. Interestingly enough, you'd never believe a couple of years ago that people would spend that kind of money for these phones or line up. The demand for technology and innovation is unconstrained. The consumption of technology is unconstrained. And let me give you another example of unconstrained demand. Anybody here from Australia? Who's from Australia? Danny there? Matt? Yeah. ANZ Bank. ANZ Bank launched an application. It's a really cool application. It's called Shake and Get Your Bank Balance. Kind of neat. You've heard of Shake and Pay, right? They got Shake and Get Your Bank Balance. During a football match, they launched an advertising campaign that said, try the Shake and Pay, or Shake and See Your Balance. Well, when New Zealand is playing Australia, it's a very highly watched game, was what I was told. Yeah? Is that true? Most people watch that game when New Zealand and Australia play? During the advertising, they launched this application. And 6 million people downloaded that application. And during the game, 6 million people started shaking their phones. And 6 million people created over 50 million transactions in 1 hour. Now, that's the world of unconstrained demand. You are demanding things and you're using more. How many people tweeted today? How many people instant messaged? How many people chatted? How many people looked up their bank balance? How many people deposited a check with their phone? We're going into a world where demand is unconstrained. And that's why cloud also matters. Cloud lets you scale unconstrained demand. The other thing that's really interesting is we're moving into an economy and a world of self-service. How many people have been in a bank and actually talked to a teller in the last month? 1% of the total team? Why don't you go to the bank and talk to the teller anymore? She's really nice. Anybody want to tell me? Why don't you go? Because you don't need to? Because we've automated that process? Right, today, we've got self-service in insurance. We've got self-service in checking. We've got self-service in license renewal. You can get self-service for a passport renewal. Now, you go to the airport, you get self-service. There are no people anymore. Then you talk to Adam, the telephone system, when you lose your bag. That could be a bad experience. But we accept self-service as a norm. So when we created the marketplace with the notion that first you have to make sure that the VAR community knows how to use it, and then we drive towards a self-service environment because people are now used to self-service. The world is changing. This is probably the funniest movie that I have watched in a really, really long time, yeah? It's called, who's seen Unfinished Business? You guys haven't seen it yet? It's pretty funny. It's about the little guy going up against the big guy, and it's got a lot of, good humor and stuff. But it's mostly about the little guy fighting the big guy. You don't have to be big to succeed anymore. You just have to work differently. So now that we all know about the things that we have to change and how we have to work differently, let's talk about what this means in terms of economics. In terms of economics, the new economy is a transformation. What transformation means is that a caterpillar doesn't become a butterfly and then go backwards. It's only one way, right? The caterpillar becomes a butterfly. The butterfly never becomes a caterpillar. Or do you think a caterpillar can become a butterfly and the butterfly can become a caterpillar? What do you think, Paul? We could try, right? We could pick its wings off and I'm sure we'll make it back into a caterpillar. It's pretty hard. It's going to go one way. It's never going to change back. Another example of transformation in the real world is a tadpole becomes a frog, yeah? Terry loses his hair never grows back, right? It's a definitive change. Keep in mind, the way we are working and the way the economy is functioning is changing permanently. And you need to be part of that journey with us to help your customers succeed. I'll give you a moment to read this. I think it was interesting to see that you've got some of the same commentary in the presentation about Darwin and some of the other guys, Einstein and so on. Darwin is a naturalist. Einstein is a scientist. They always fight with each other. The reality is, I think it's a good statement. The ones that are responsive to change survive. The ones that don't respond to change won't survive. What that means is the partners of the past will not be the partners of the future. The companies we operate with in the past may not be the companies that succeed in the future. So as you're deciding what you're going to sell and companies you're going to partner with and technologies you're going to put at your customer site, think about which ones are going to succeed and which ones aren't going to succeed. The ones that are embracing the change, the ones that are embracing cloud and working with you, and the ones that aren't, if they're not making the change in 2020, they probably won't be the ones that survive and win. In our ecosystem is changing. So if we look at this ecosystem, a CSP is a cloud service provider. They're the originator of the service. They build the service. What those guys do in the ecosystem now is they're researchers, they're developers, they're hosters. And this has changed from 1 year ago. 1 year ago, this picture was very, very, very different. And that's how quickly it's evolving. We've become a master cloud solution provider. We take many services from many different partners, and we bring them to bear to you in the marketplace or through our sales force. Your role is value. Your role is a solution provider. You provide the solution to your customer. You're a domain expert. You're a trusted advisor. That's not our role, and that's the most important role in the customer relationship. And interestingly about your customers are changing. They're becoming innovators, collaborators, and executors. And while all this stuff is changing, the way we consume technology is moving from an on-premise world to an off-premise world. Now, as we said yesterday, it's not happening as fast as people think, but it will happen. And it is being driven by pure economics. And the pure economics I'll talk about in a second. The other thing that we're seeing at the same time in the ecosystem is the ecosystem is moving to mobile clients. And mobile clients are very good for consuming cloud services. Right? It's getting faster and faster. We're going into a mobile world. Your mobile phone, how many people have got an iPhone? iPhone 6S, 6 Plus, Android Galaxy 6, yeah? These things are close to $800 a piece. They're more expensive than a PC. And they're going to get more expensive because they're going to get more powerful. So they're going to become your compute platform. That's why cloud is very prevalent, because your data and your structures can be housed somewhere else. Einstein said energy can neither be created or destroyed. I think it's a good theory. I think he's right. Can't argue with him. But the other thing that I'll tell you is that I don't think value can be created or destroyed. I think value can only be transferred from one person to another. Right? And you can take that from this sense. We can't produce more natural resources. The basis of everything we do comes from natural resources. That means value comes from there. That means value can only be moved from a natural resource to another component. Human labor is a resource. It can only be moved from one place to another. Now, you generate more value by having more population then in services. Times are changing. The old school is, we were okay trying to build an ERP system, spending 6 months building a data center, standing up all this stuff, spending years to build a data warehouse, spending huge money in consulting contracts. And then the new school came. And you can start a business in Silicon Valley in 6 hours. You can buy a shelf company with a registration, a domain, and everything else and be up and running in 6 hours. Takes you 1 hour to build a data warehouse in the cloud. 1 hour. Takes you minutes to build an ERP now. Get an accounting system in the cloud, Intuit or something else, in an hour. And the interesting thing is that you variabilize your cost. That means the economy continues to move from a CapEx world to an OpEx world. It also means you can afford to fail much more often. Even your organizations can afford to fail much more often because the risk that you have of failure is very, very small. What does that mean? It means innovation will continue to accelerate. It will continue to accelerate. It will not slow down. It will get faster. As more and more cloud becomes available and you can do things quicker and cheaper, things will be invented faster and faster. That's why we're seeing innovation accelerate in a curve that's going up like this now. Quite fascinating time. But while all this is happening, there's something that's bad that's happening. Maybe not bad for the people in this room, but bad for some people. Anybody recently heard of a major company hiring? Except for Ingram Micro. Major company hiring, let's try. Bank of America, Citibank, General Motors, Ford Motor Company, American Airlines, Delta Airlines. Anybody hiring? No. Are they laying off people? HP, Cisco. Interestingly enough, cloud is about seats, right? We talked that it's about seats. The biggest companies in the world are not adding seats, they're not adding licenses. Who's adding the seats and the licenses are small companies. Which means the future is about serving the tail end of small companies where innovation is going to happen. It's about serving customers around the globe in many different places, and it's about serving them with this new technology that's called cloud. That's the reason we went through this journey together to build the marketplace and put it around the globe. Because with our partners, we are going to serve those hundreds of millions of customers. Because the other side of the pyramid, which is called the apex has inverted. It's flipped upside down. And that's where all of our roles become more important in the coming years. Because customers will need your help to understand the complexity of the cloud, to manage the complexity of the cloud, yeah, as the global economy changes. So again, that's fantastic for all of us and the right journey that we're taking together with the platforms, tools, and the education we're sharing. I used to love playing Pac-Man, right? I was in a conference a couple of weeks ago. It was actually in France. I was talking to a bunch of CEOs, and it was a fascinating conference. How many CEOs think they understand IT? How many CEOs do you know that understand IT? Anybody know one? Anybody know a CEO that considers IT to be a profit center? Anybody know that one that considers it to be a cost center? Yeah? How many of them actually manage it or understand it? None of them? Should they? Probably, because it's going to become their most important source of advantage in the future. So you're going to see more and more people change. Interestingly enough, what these CEOs are all experiencing, but they haven't noticed yet, is a concept of internal brain drain. The biggest companies in the world are being eaten by all those small companies. And they're being eaten one small piece at a time. And at the same time as small competitors are eating their share, there's something else that's happening. The new workforce is deciding to go work for those competitors. Because as we said before, people now work differently, they think differently, they share differently, they behave differently, which means the companies of the past will not be the companies of the future. The ones that don't embrace change, the ones that don't embrace technology and cloud will not be the winners in this new world. But together, we can help the new companies be successful. So I think you talked about this too, the source of sustainable competitive advantage. What I will tell you is that your commitment to being here with us shows that you want competitive advantage. The only source of sustainable competitive advantage in the industry we are in, which is services, is people. It's all of you. It's all of your employees. It's all of your associates. And if we help them on this journey to transform, we will create sustainable competitive advantage in the long tail of the industry and the mid-market. And that's why we're happy that you're here and you joined us, yeah? Because we're going to help you create that sustainable competitive advantage. And in the end, yeah, our commitment to you is to help you generate a self-service world in a marketplace where you can help your customers be successful and you can help yourself be successful. And that's the journey that we're very happy to take with you, and we're happy that we have that opportunity to be your partner. And thank you for your time. And I can take 4 minutes of questions if anybody has a question. And there are no bad questions, you'll get more socks. And I can't see from up here, so if there's no questions, then I will hand it back to my master of ceremonies.